Hey everyone, welcome to the first ever Walmart Playbook Podcast, where we break down the best tips and tricks and the latest strategies for succeeding on the Walmart marketplace and e-commerce in general. Today, I'm joined by my co-host, Joey Wheeler, as well as Salem. So we're going to be going ahead and we're going to be starting off episode 1 with just first off introducing ourselves, giving a breakdown of the Walmart Playbook, and also this podcast is going to be about how to go ahead and how to have success on Walmart as a beginner, especially if you are transitioning from Amazon or you're looking to just get started with e-commerce in general. So, Joey, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, what's up, everybody? I'm Joey. I'm based here in Orlando, Florida. I would say I've been in the e-commerce space professionally since 2021 when I started my Amazon account. Been on eBay for about 5 years, but more of a collectible and hobby eBay seller. And I got into Walmart in Q4 of 2023, and I am about 90% RA, and I love being on the road and running up and down the streets. I put about 50,000 miles a year on my vehicle, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
That's a great intro, Joey. So happy to have you on the podcast and also have you as a part of the playbook with your insight on retail arbitrage and just your years of experience with selling. Salem, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
What's going on, everyone? My name's Salem. I'm in Ohio, where no one else is at. And I've been selling on Amazon for over 4 years and Walmart for a little under 3. And I like to do a lot of OA and wholesale along with brand direct. But I did start off with RA, and I do enjoy doing RA more on Walmart than I do on Amazon for some reason. But I'm very excited to be part of the playbook. I think there's a lot of opportunity with Walmart, and the momentum is hot right now, and it's a good time to be a part of the community to see where it goes down the road.
There's so much momentum. I think also you're another seller who just dabbles in a lot. Do you kind of see yourself pivoting more towards wholesale or continuing with OA, or where does that kind of lie?
That's a good question. I mean, OA compared to what it was when I started is a lot more competitive now. It's not saturated by any means, but a lot of things that I'm used to doing in the past aren't necessarily working as good as they are now. So I think I'm going to get into more wholesale. And as I do that, I'm hoping more tools and softwares provide more data to make it a little bit easier. But right now, it's kind of fun, in my opinion, kind of navigating, the best way we can with what we have.
Yes, certainly. So I guess I'll go last. So my name is Noah. I've been selling online for a little bit over 8 years, started on Amazon, and I mostly did wholesale drop shipping, work with different companies that have products that they won't ship out either FBA or to regular consumers. Think about kind of like restaurant equipment, automotive, pool equipment, all those big things. Those are really good. And then I was mostly selling on Amazon, and I was also selling funeral products. And then I kind of got started on Walmart in 2019. Really hated the platform for a few years. And then slowly but surely, they improved their return process. They made it easier. They added WFS. And then I also started adding OA. I saw Salem crushing it, saw a couple of other people doing it. And I said, let me get into this OA game. And similar to what you're saying, a lot of the low-hanging fruit isn't as easy. I used to be able to just order something from Target and be able to sell it. Now, anything that I order from Target instantly gets 50 new sellers the next day. So, it's definitely a learning game, but I think that Walmart offers a lot of opportunity that doesn't exist on Amazon. Not to say that, it's the best marketplace to be on, but I like to be on both. I like to go ahead and diversify and have a thriving business in that regard. So let's go ahead and now let's break down the playbook. The people want to know, what is the Walmart Playbook? So the Walmart Playbook is me, Joey, and Salem. We created the playbook to create a community for like-minded e-commerce sellers, specifically focused on growing on the Walmart marketplace. This is going to encompass retail arbitrage. We're going to be talking about online arbitrage, wholesale, as well as any other major topic, and if anything affecting the Walmart space. We're also going to be having guests on for the podcast. We're going to be having sponsors, and we're just going to be dropping so many knowledge bombs. Additionally, the playbook is also a monthly challenge. So every single month or every 2 months, we're going to host a Walmart training, and you can find more information about that in the link below. And this is going to be a live training class. So it will either be around 5 to 7 days. And each day, we're going to be going over a different topic like sourcing for Walmart, setting up your Walmart seller account, advertising, all of that good stuff. And it will be live, interactive, and then recorded. And you can also get access to the community and other Walmart sellers. So I guess our first podcast is kind of sponsored by us, the Walmart Playbook. With that said, our first topic that we're going to be talking about is, as a beginner, how do you go ahead and how do you get started selling on Walmart? All right, gentlemen, I'm going to kind of create a scenario for you. You have someone, they've been selling on Amazon, let's say, for about 2 years. They just got Section 3. Their catalog is primarily Nike. and they have about $20,000 worth of inventory in Amazon. They have enough capital. They're not like drowning in debt. They have enough product. They have enough money to go ahead and spend it for product. How do they go ahead and how do they get started selling on Walmart?
I would say, first off, I'm sorry if that has happened. That's happened to a lot of people. I would kind of throw out your knowledge when it comes to Amazon and specifically your catalog of Nike. And first, I'd tell you to probably, create a broader, wider net instead of having just one brand. And I would probably start off by doing online arbitrage by going to different websites such as Target, Macy's, other big retailers, and just cross-referencing different category products that you normally wouldn't have on Amazon. So if you were focusing on Nike, maybe you look into, kitchen and homeware or tools or, trading cards, different things like that, and just get out of your scope is what I would recommend doing.
I like that. Joey, what about you?
Yeah, so I mean, I think the biggest thing I'm going to tell everybody, and I know that it's more retail arbitrage based, but just go to Walmart. If you want an idea of, there's no other platform you can get on. You can just walk into a store and they will tell you what's popular and they will tell you what sells. They've been in the game for 50 plus years. If you see an item or an area that gets, 18 feet of space, 5 shelves, whatever, that product is moving. That item or that category is moving. If you go and you see something on one shelf on the top left corner and the box is covered in dust, that's not something that's going to sell on Walmart. If you see something on one of the main aisles that's on the end caps, it's facing outwards towards where all the traffic is, those items are hot products. You can go in and obviously look at your clearance items and see what kind of discounts Walmart's putting on their own items. But I think that's the biggest thing is like, there's nowhere else better to learn what sells on Walmart than just walking into a Walmart.
Yeah, I would say that's definitely true. It's something that I think that's how I learned how to sell on Walmart. I would also say, and I would also be curious on this, and my question to you would be, how can you expedite that rather than going ahead and just stopping and scanning all those products? If you're brand new to Walmart and you're brand new to RA, what do you go ahead and scan? Because my first time in there, I just went straight to the clearance aisle, but that's not always the best place to look because my clearance aisle was slim pickings. I think it's less than, if I showed you, it's less than like one shelf is the clearance aisle. And then, I was like scanning everything there and it's being sold by Walmart. Also, you're going to see a lot of Walmart brands. So Mainstays, Pioneer Woman, everything like that, which for our new listeners can't be sold by third-party sellers. Do you have any like specific categories or aisles that you like to focus on?
Yeah, I mean, I think, obviously everybody when they get on, I think navigates toward toys. That's what everybody kind of thinks about. You have your 5 or 6 brands that, you can kind of tell everybody like, hey, these are your priority ungates, like your Lego, Squishmallow, Pokemon, things of that nature. But I think also too, it's smart to do some research and you can probably chat GPT your way into some statistics, but 40% of all toy sales happen in Q4. So what are you going to do about your business the rest of the 9 months of the year? So I think walking up and down the regular aisles as well, look for the little yellow stickers that signify clearance. Look for rollbacks. You can go on Walmart.com and look at what items and what categories are clearance. You can also see this on the clearance aisle. If you go to the clearance aisle and you see a lot of toys, there's probably more toys on clearance on the regular toy aisles. You just have to look and find it. I think electronics are great. There's so many brands that don't require ungating. I tell people like start building out your catalog, start building out your knowledge base. At the end of the day, though, you have to go really wide with Walmart. There are some things out there that can help you determine sales velocity or determine a good buy, but I still get really great buys with items that have no reviews, have 0 sales velocity estimates. You have to build out your own knowledge base. And I think that part of the reason why we created this community is to just help people, kind of expedite that. And whether it's leads analysis or giving some insight into the Walmart marketplace, I think just trying to help people grow as fast as possible. I think once you start seeing, I think we had somebody post last week, they had their first like 8 order day or 10 order day. Like once you start filling that out and seeing proof of concept, obviously you start learning. And I think for those of you that don't have a Section 3, it's very easy to just start taking 5 to 10% of your units and just start sending them to WFS and start testing. Unfortunately, we don't ever know when that Section 3 may or not come, so I think that's a big thing as well if you're not on Section 3. But yeah, I think those are some big things.
Yeah, that is really good advice. I guess based on that, is there anything that you look for, and this goes for both of you, that when you're sourcing, that if you were to tell someone who's just beginning, if you see this or, what you look for, because you mentioned no reviews. When I was beginning, the very first thing I would look for is reviews. So is there something that you specifically look for to know if it's selling, or the first thing that you look for? I guess we'll start there. What's the first thing that when you guys are analyzing that you look for? Salem, why don't you go first?
Yeah, I like to look at, if I'm using Martyr, for example, I like to look at the buy box percentage and load it by all the sellers at all time. So whether I'm using Sellify, Martyr, Bizmetrica, any software that I use, I like to sort it by the all time just because we are working with limited data. So the more data that you are able to see in that snapshot is going to be good. I do like to look at the buy box percentage and cross-reference that to the current sellers. So for example, if there's 5 buy box sellers in February and now there's only 2 sellers or 1 seller, that's a good indication to me that the product is going to be moving. And another thing that I like to look at is, is there anyone that is WFS on this listing? Because a lot of times you could find a listing that there are no WFS sellers. And if you go and add that item to your inventory and convert it to WFS and it goes through, that's a whole nother a gold mine of a listing in its own as well. So that's what I like to look for personally.
Yeah. So Joey, what do you normally look first for when you're scanning? You're RA, so you're even more on the go.
So, I would probably say I use the Walmart shopping app more than most. So I mean, the first thing I'm looking at is, what is the in-store price versus what is the online price? What is it selling for on Walmart.com? Then immediately I'm going to look at number of sellers. I usually try to follow the rule of 3 where, if I buy it for $8, I want to be able to sell it for 24. We all know Walmart can be a little bit more profitable, so you can adjust your shopping parameters, as you see fit. But first and foremost, like, is the item profitable if I were to buy it? How many sellers am I competing with? And then I might look at the images, are the picture, what's the picture quality looking like? And then if it's a new brand, I'm adding it to my catalog to make sure it's not gated. Now, there are some softwares out there that will give you feedback on that. There are calculators out there. You can find, free calculators, Chrome extensions, things like that. So, you can do your research on what you feel is the best for you. But at the end of the day, I know people tell me I'm insane when I say this. Like, I was on Amazon for 15 months. I didn't even know what Keepa was. So I'm used to kind of like trying to teach myself the software the best way I know how without having to add like a software stack. So the Walmart shopping app, you really need to know the ins and outs of it. And also too, the most accurate price you're going to get is scanning in a store. If you scan with any software inside of a Walmart, it's pulling up the online price. That's just how Walmart works. There's no other way that you're going to get the in-store price. And the clearance tags are notoriously wrong. They will automatically update the price via UPC and not update the yellow sticker tag. The other thing that I look for that is completely different from Walmart to Amazon is I will look at the 3 shipping options. So you have shipping, which means it's coming from a distribution center or so either from a warehouse or a third-party seller, or it'll have pickup, which is obviously buy online, pick up at the store, or I'll have delivery, which means it's being delivered directly from a store. So anytime I get a listing where shipping is not available, that means that Walmart themselves and no other third-party sellers are offering that at WFS or even seller fulfilled. And I might just randomly buy 3 units just to see what happens. So those are kind of my probably top priorities.
Gotcha. I think that's pretty similar to me. I think biggest thing that I look for is price, just to make sure that there is that ceiling. Something that I'm actually training my helper, not quote unquote like my shopper, but I have he's kind of like my shadow. He helps me video. He also helps me source RA and stuff. And he asked me, he said, like, for Walmart to Walmart, if there's no other third-party sellers, how do you know what you can price it at and all that? So it's interesting hearing that rule of 3. I think my immediate thought process is 30% ROI, minimum of $3 profit. That's kind of what I look for, is to make sure that I can make a profit. And the next thing is, after I determine profitability, go ahead and see the sellers. So I actually used to look, I would add it to my catalog, but I assumed that would be faster. However, I now look at the number of sellers, as well as also, to Salem's point, the buy box, try and look for the movement, because like if you add it to your catalog, it's still a little bit tedious, and it's faster to go ahead and look at the number of sellers, offers, look at that movement, that history. and see like, if there's 40 sellers on a listing that has no reviews, I'm not going to pick that up. Even if I were to test it, I'd have to get it to where I could make 40 to 50% ROI at the current price. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. Is I'm just looking to see competition as well as profitability, and then everything else is kind of secondary from there. So I think that's kind of a really good starting point on Walmart is testing. Right, it's all going to come down to test buying, making sure that you're putting in the reps. We're getting to that point where we're spoiled by Keepa. Shout out PriceLink, but at the moment we currently don't have that much data. All Keepa is it's literally just scraping Amazon. People think that Walmart doesn't provide as much data as Amazon. That's actually, I think it's not true at all. Amazon, the sales rank, if I tell you a sales rank is 10,000, you have no idea how many sales that actually estimates. It took years for these companies to go ahead and create their algorithms, for people to track stock levels over time, to build all of that, and then to determine what rank in which category determines a number of sales. Versus on Walmart, it literally is just getting started. A lot of companies are now starting to scrape data, including myself with PriceLink, and we're starting to build that, get badges and determine what all of that data means. So yeah, the future is exciting, and hopefully the softwares that are coming out, I'm ready to walk in with Joey to a Walmart and have my AI glasses and just spot 15 leads. You're literally going to hear in your ear, lead detected. Something like that.
Yeah, no, that'd be fun. We should definitely hit up a Walmart together sometime. It'd be all fun.
It's going to be crazy. I think we've had tactical arbitrage and a couple of different scraping tools and all this stuff for years. But once people start to somehow add all of this automation software and whatever to RA, obviously you can never fully automate it unless you have your Tesla bot go out and source for you. It's going to be game changer. Imagine walking to a thrift store and just having it automatically pull up the comps for you, have everything. That's going to be game changer.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. There's no other better feeling than going to a store when you're doing RA and finding something that you're looking for and finding a lot of it. It's sort of the best feeling ever.
Yeah, the only thing really that beats that is listing things in store and have them sell before you get to the checkout.
Yeah, that's fair.
And that happened once to me.
Yeah, I mean, that happened. I mean, obviously, if the sales rank's high enough, that happens on Amazon frequently. But with Walmart, I don't know what it is. When that happens and you sell, even one of something, within, an hour, it's just an energy rush of okay, that's a great buy. Now let's go find more.
I remember when I got ungated in medicine, I went to Walmart and they had a kid's Robitussin, and there were so many of them. I bought some, went home, and then they sold, and I kept going back the whole day until they sold out. But he's looking at me like I'm crazy because I have a bunch of cough syrup.
That's right. Shout out those bestseller badges.
It's true. It's true. So I think that's a really good point for beginners, right? What to look for, how to get started. There are plenty of calculator apps, as we mentioned a few. All you need is the Walmart Buyer app. Just get the shopping app, connect to your local store's Wi-Fi, and you'll be able to go ahead and to see those different prices. Also, you might want to go ahead and check out the Walmart 101 Discord, which is going to be linked down below. And that's going to enable you to use the stock checkers, which maybe we'll do a podcast episode on that. But for the most part, Walmart to Walmart is a great place to start because you're literally going into Walmart, seeing what sells. And then, you can branch out. And RA is really geographically dependent. A lot of people in Florida have Ross. I have no Rosses near me. I am pretty much just stuck with Walmart, Target, a couple of other stores. So definitely, just take a look at stores in your region. Within my area, I have about 10 Walmarts within a 30-minute drive of me. So again, just utilize all of your advantages. And that's just really the best way to get started. If you're doing wholesale or OA, I definitely want to pass this question off to you, Salem, as well. As when you're getting started, start with the retailers and suppliers that you already have. Even if you're selling Nike, right? Look at where you're getting discounted gift cards. Look how you can kind of shift your current operations and current ways that you discount products to get them profitable. If you can kind of maneuver that, or even find your competition on Walmart and see if you can use your already built knowledge base to get started.
Yeah, absolutely. I would just say the biggest thing from OA Amazon to OA Walmart is just buy wider and don't buy too deep off the bat like you would on Amazon with the data you got. And as long as you could do that and capitalize on, listings that you can replenish and being organized, there's no way you can't win, in my opinion.
Yeah. Do you think Amazon to Walmart is a good place for beginners to start?
I actually do think it's a great place for them to start. I would definitely say make sure you're looking at all the categories on Amazon. As Joey mentioned earlier, a lot of people like to focus on toys and things like that. As those items do good. There's other categories that are way better. Like, for example, there was a light bulb that I found on Amazon that was normally about $25, and it was on a lightning deal for $8.99. And then on Walmart, it was selling for like $23, $24. And so I bought 10 of those, and they sold out, I believe, in like 2 weeks. But my point with that is, when Amazon does have their lightning deals or their flash sales, there's a pretty high probability that that sale, once it ends, that price isn't going to go back to what it is. And if it does, it's going to take some time. So if you could step in on that and grab that item at that time, you could really eat off that.
Any tips to like keep track or just constantly check the lightning deals? Do you use Keepa? Do you use any tools?
I mean, I use Martyr to do it as well, and I just kind of scrape it and cross-reference. And I would say, either ask ChatGPT, what are the deals of the day online today? And you could let it know, I like to shop on Amazon, Target, Walmart, and it could guide you that way. But I would say looking at it probably once or twice a week, maybe once on the weekend, once during the week, and just getting familiar with it. Some items do go back to that price. And like I said, some do not. So as long as you grab it at the right time, you could do pretty well. And the last thing I'll say, the one main reason why it's also good for beginners is that Amazon typically limits you to 3 units of an item. That way you're not contemplating, hey, do I buy 10? Do I buy 50? You could easily buy 1 to 3 units of a couple items, send it in or fulfill it from your house and see how it moves that way as well.
Yeah, that's really good advice.
I would say, shout out Flip Alert. If you have Flip Alert's an Amazon to Amazon software, and they definitely have added Walmart over the last 6 months. I use it daily. It has a great mobile version. It has a Chrome extension to track all of your orders for OA, but it also has a monitor built in so that when you do find an Amazon to Walmart flip, you can track that monitor for when it goes on sale again. I have about 11 replens right now, and I might not buy them monthly. I might buy them bi-monthly. I might only buy 3 units. I might be able to buy 9 on a business account, but those are items that steadily move for me, and they meet all my criteria, and they're generally, 100% ROI or higher, especially with those flash deals. So, and the alerts, like you set up your tasks and they literally come to your phone like every minute. So you got some downtime, you got nothing to do. Like when I'm doing RA and I'm like in between, I probably shouldn't say this, when I'm in between stores and I'm driving, like I'll pull up Flip Alert on my phone, or I'll sit in the parking lot for 20 or 30 minutes just to kind of clear my mind. Because when you go into Walmarts, I think the more Walmarts you hit in the day, the more kind of tunnel vision you get. So it's one way to kind of break up the monotony of RA and kind of reset your brain a little bit. But I use that regularly.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. He admitted it here on the podcast.
Found him.
No, joking. It's a certified RA trait. I've definitely done that. I think that Amazon to Walmart is definitely a good place to start. I'm not an expert by any means. I found like one product using actually DataSpark's old tool years ago. It was a bug spray, and I just searched out of stock products on Walmart, and now like you can use PriceLink and just find out of stock products. And like once we start to build more historical data, you'll be able to kind of see when they go in and out. So this product, Walmart regularly goes out of stock on a couple of variations. And then maybe they sell, like to Joey's point, 10 units a month, but I buy them for $12 and they sell for, some of them sell for $30, $36. And Amazon's price also fluctuates like crazy. So, when I get an alert on Keepa that Amazon's price has gone from 12 to 8, I'm buying more. So a lot of opportunity there. And I think that Amazon to Walmart flips are just in their early stages. Tools like Flip Alert, all of these tools they're going to be getting really good pretty soon, because there's just so many opportunities between both retailers, not even just Amazon to Walmart. Walmart to Amazon, I know, is still pretty popular. Just so many ways to go ahead and source.
So many ways.
And Walmart to Walmart is crazy. I mean, that's the future, I think. Someone asked me earlier today, how do you know when to buy? If they're at like 1,000, how do you know when to buy? The goal is right now is just like once we build those tools. So for PriceLink, we're working on adding like historical charts for Walmart. You can see like gradually that their stock is decreasing. Because if they're always at 30, there's this Lego spider that I've been monitoring for like a month now, and their stock has not changed. So that is an example of a product that Walmart is just constantly at 32 units for. Versus like other ones, so as we get more data, we're going to get better. Walmart to Walmart flips are just going to be like, it's going to be as simple as Flip Alert, right? You just set that alert, set that task, and then you buy it. And then there's really no competition, because if you order 20 units and Walmart sold out, it's really just going to be all about RA then. It's going to be, can you get it in store? And that's where the stock checker, and there's just going to be so many different ways to source from Walmart.
100%.
Yeah, I mean, just with RA, simply just the fact that there's their supply chain doesn't support them being able to offer all of their SKUs online that they do in store, that is 100%. I mean, you could easily scale to, I would say, 10 to 20K a month in volume on probably 75% ROI just buying items within Walmart that they don't themselves offer online. That a lot of times when I get on the listing, especially if it's an early listing, there's no sellers for a week or two. And even when other sellers jump on, they're 1 or 2 units here or there, and I've already been testing for 2 or 3 weeks and I've already went like way deeper than anybody else. So it's that part of it itself is completely different from every platform that I'm aware of. So it's a huge opportunity. Once you can master that part, it just adds so much profitability to your bottom line, but also adds a layer of confidence as well.
It's always good.
For sure. So I think we're going to go ahead. We're going to wrap up this first episode, keep it kind of short. And yeah, thank you everyone for watching. All of our social medias and links will be linked down below. As always, be sure to go ahead and check out when the next Walmart Playbook Challenge is going to be. That is a week challenge. So it's a 7-day challenge and it's going to be live. And we're going to be going over either different ways to source, Walmart focused challenges. So again, be sure to go ahead and check that out. Link down below. Link to Walmart 101 and the stock checker. And really quick, Joey and Salem, do you want to just spend like 10 seconds going over what that is?
Yeah.
Sure. It's basically a stock checker. So when you find an item that's a really good item that meets your criteria within the store, you can type in a code with your zip code and the UPC or the Walmart ID, and it will give you the stock in every Walmart within a 50-mile radius of you. We also funnel in about 400 leads a month so that if you don't have an idea where to start, you can just check the stock level of those items that are on clearance in your area and put a little extra money in your pocket.
Yep. Again, just checking the stock level for items at your local Walmart. It's so powerful. We're going to do a dedicated Playbook podcast to that. And that is also linked down below. The link to also Price Link, if you'd like to try Price Link, is going to also be linked down below. So thank you everyone for watching. And we're going to see you guys in episode 2 next week.
Thank you guys. Have a good one.
Have a great day.